Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, something which I wanted to bring up in more detail was that one of the most obnoxious things that I've ever encountered is going to a tower site to work on something and troubleshoot something because, oh my god, everything's offline, or this isn't working, or that isn't working, or hey, we forgot to label things and we just changed the switch without coordinating, and yeah, we can't get it hooked back up. So, one of the most basic, fundamental things that you have to do when you're doing installations, especially on a tower, is label the shit out of everything. I mean, fucking everything. Label, 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 label. Whether you're using heat shrink tube labels or color codes, just make sure your fucking cables are labeled at the top and bottom of the tower. Please. I mean, jumpers between the devices, that probably should be labeled too, but you can color code those. And I mean, like, realistically, if it's like 3 in the morning and you're trying to get something working again, and you know, it's a jumper problem, it's not hard to find where the fucking jumper goes. The tower, on the other hand, you're going to have to sit there and plug devices in one at a time if something's happened or a cable's gotten chewed through or somebody fucked with it. Anyway, so if I show up at a tower site and I see this, just a bunch of black cables all going into a switch, I usually go all autistic because, I'm, on the spectrum, and frustration is a big problem with people who suffer from ADHD. So I get all grumpy and ugly and nasty, and I have really poor self-control that way, okay? Now, for the more sane people like me, not saying that just because I'm autistic means I'm insane, but there's two different issues anyway. Squirrel. It's not hard to label things. So I'm not sure exactly who taught me the cardinal points, but what I was taught when I was growing up, and I grew up in a school that had a very strong Native American influence, or Native Canadian influence, whatever. North Shore Public School, where was that? In Keene. Green, because the forests in the north are green. Yellow, because the sun rises in the east, so yellow is east. Blue is west, because that's where the sun sets, and it's hottest in the south, so south is red. So green is north, yellow is east, red is south, blue is west. That's what I was taught growing up, so that's always how I code my cables, okay? And it's not hard. If you've figured out what your cable lengths need to be, and they're on the ground, coiled up, you can take each end of a cable and just tape it. And if you're doing like I showed you in my grounding video where you're bonding this cabling here, then of course you're going to be taping it anyway to not only mark it, but also seal up the heat shrink as an added layer. Okay, so there it is. You've got multiple reasons to do that. If you're doing it after the fact, okay, like if you're running a new cable to the top of the tower, easy. Code it. Just take some tape up with you, and usually if you're putting new cable on the tower, you should be using a cable tester to verify or validate or certify the cable before you put it into operation. I mean, even me personally, I mean, like my crimps are 99.9999% good to the point of confidence where I don't even test my cables, okay? But you should. And when you test them and validate them, that's when you can code them. Now, we've got 4 colors here, but there's a hell of a lot more colors you can get for color codes at the electrical wholesaler. You can get purple, you can get brown, you can get orange. There's all sorts of different cables when you've got more. Or if you're in a pinch, you can double them up. One of the ways that I double up my color codes is white for backhauls. And you can do this with all of them. You can actually say, if you've only got red, green, blue, yellow, and white, and black, you know what? Easy. Okay. So our backhauls here, I just chose an arbitrary designation, white. Okay, so these are both backhaul radios. This backhaul is going to the south, so I made it double-banded red. This one's going north, so double-banded green. Okay, so I could easily go white and then whatever, or I could make it all red and then do the bands on it again. You just make sure that down in the cabinet you take a Sharpie and you write on the inside of the cabinet door what color means what. Or you text it to somebody and keep it in a spreadsheet or something. But the point is that you need to come up with some type of labeling system, whether it's color codes or the most beautiful thing ever is if you've got one of those Rhino label makers. I think Brother makes it. You can actually buy, instead of actually paying like $20 per heat shrink cartridge on Amazon for the actual Brother branded, if you simply look on Ali, you can get 5 packs of generic I'm telling you, generic. $5 a piece for like 20 feet of heat shrink tubing, labeled tubing. And you just print what it is, and you'd stick that on the top and bottom, heat it, you're good to go. Everything's labeled. It's really easy. So just do it. What's stopping you? Label your cables. In the enclosures, do whatever's necessary. Mark your cables. It's very, very, very important. Do not leave your cables like this. And if you're just sitting back going, you're an idiot. Why do I need to label them? The port that they're plugged into is labeled for me. Well, that doesn't do you any good if somebody, moved cables around and you didn't know it. Like, let's say you've got 4 sectors going into a bridge on a switch, and somebody moves them around, and all of a sudden, sector east isn't working properly, but all the ports show us gigabit. How the hell do you know which port is sector east? That's my point, okay? Label your cables. It's not that hard. I've just given you a couple of ways of doing it. Just do it, okay? Anyway, thanks. Hope you like that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I have lots more content coming. I'm finally doing my Magic SFP lab this week. I've got it all set up over there, and I've got no excuses why I can't do it if I have a slow week this week, so it's probably going to happen. Tonight, I'm doing this, and I'm doing a few other little short videos to keep the mind stimulated with telecom-related stuff. Might not be useful. It might be fluff, but it's interesting content, so I hope you enjoy it. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you later. Ciao.